It's time for the Northwoods Cooking Show. Starring Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, the troublemaking dog.
Hello and welcome to the Northwoods Cooking Show. I'm your host, Uncle Roy, and today we're going to be making quiches. And our first quiche we're going to be making is going to be an asparagus quiche. Now you can take and use a frozen pie crust if you want to, or you can make your own. It's up to you. I got the roll-out kind. So we can just take and roll this out into our pie pan. Now, if you want to make it from scratch, I don't know if you search on my Google on YouTube, and you can find the Northwoods Cooking Show, and just look up any recipe that has pies on it or whatever, because my pie crust recipes are on there, and it's very, very simple, very easy to do. But even easier is just get it already pre-made. So what we're going to do is we want to roll this out just slightly. And we're going to take and par bake this first in our pie shell. And par baking is just so that the crust is partially baked, so it doesn't get so soggy when you bake it then after you add all your ingredients to the pie shell. So that's what the par baking does. And we'll just take and just roll this up on the pan like that. Put that in the pan and then unroll it. And then when you put this in your pan, you don't want to stretch it. So lift up the dough and then press down into it. That way you're not going to have the dough all stretched out, so that when it bakes it'll crack and fall apart on you. So you just want to make sure you lift and then press down. Don't stretch that out. And then just push that down. I can either cut off the excess, or you can just take and make a lovely fold this under the excess amount all around the ridge. And if you roll it out too big, you can just cut that extra off. But you want to leave enough here for like a 1/4 inch hangover, so that you can roll it up to make a crust on the side. And then we're gonna just roll this over. Now with my asparagus, I've got the Dutch oven with the steamer inside. And I got the water boiling. So let me just take this off for a second here so it doesn't all boil away. So now, after I just rolled it under around the edge, just take your finger and poke and pinch, poke and pinch. So just lift up under there and just pinch that. And this is going to flute our edges. And just work your way around the entire pie. See? Nice and pretty. Okay, so that's done. Now, we're going to take a piece of parchment paper and we'll put that over the pie shell. Lay that inside. And then take your baking beans, your pie weights, whatever you happen to have. I save these from every shell that I do. And these are just regular beans. And just pour them in. And then just fill that up. What you're doing with the beans, it's a weight. And that's going to press down against the shell so that when it par bakes, it doesn't get all puffy. Because then you're not going to have any room to fill if everything's all, blown up and puffed up. So just let that, press that down in there. And now we can take and just bake this whole thing for 10 minutes. And then we have 1 pound of asparagus. And then you just go down the stem and you start bending it. And what snaps off there, that's part you can throw away. Now, actually, you can use these parts and boil them down to nothing and make them mushy, mushy, soft, soft, and make a cream of asparagus soup out of it, you know, and whiz it up in your blender or your immersion one. So you don't need to throw these out, but we're just gonna take and put these aside for now. And let's continue on doing that for the asparagus. And they just naturally break off because that bottom part is where it breaks off is very woody and it's very fibrous. And you don't want to have that in your egg dish. And then the rest, I'm going to take and just cut rough chop. We don't have to take and mince it or small dice it or anything. Just you want it in little bite-sized pieces. However big you want to. It's up to you. I'm gonna go approximately about 1 inch to 3/4 inch. You don't want it too huge, but you don't want it too small either. And then all of this we can put right in to our steamer. And that's sitting in the water on the bottom of the Dutch oven. And then we'll cover this and let this cook. Ooh, all these little gadgets. Make sure I got that handle visible there. There we go. And we'll just let that steam for about 5 minutes. How's everything going? Oh, about 5 minutes more on the asparagus, the pie shell. So let me get these together and we'll be right back. All right, now our asparagus is done and our pie shells, all at the same time. Take that out. Okay, let that sit. And now get our asparagus. So now I got 1 small onion here, diced up. You don't need to have it minced. You could if you want, a personal preference, but just small diced. With about 2 tablespoons of butter. And we'll take and let that cook off. This should only take about 1 minute or 2. We don't want to brown the onions. We just want to soften them up. So I just take and save these and just reuse them from shell to shell. And that way you don't have to waste them. And those are recyclable and use it again for the next time. Okay, so now we have our shell here. Check up on onions. Remember, I don't want to brown these, just to soften them up. And they're just about done until I like it translucent. You know when you get most of the color away and they're kind of clearish, translucent. All right, that should do it. Now to that, we're going to be adding our asparagus. Along with 1 cup of shredded cheddar, which is half a bag, and approximately 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, some fresh thyme, and you can put in as little or as much as you want. It's up to you. About a couple tablespoons, a good heaping 2 tablespoons at least. 1/4 cup is a little too much. I'd say about a couple tablespoons. And you just take and just strip the leaves right off the stems like that. Just take and just go right straight down. And that's the easiest way of getting the leaves off the fresh thyme. If you don't have fresh thyme, you can put in a teaspoon of dried thyme. And then I'm just going to take and just rough chop this up a little bit. This so we can get the essential oils and flavorings out of the thyme leaves. And let's put that right in the pot. And this is not on now. The stove is not on. This is off the heat. So we're just going to mix this up. And then we'll fill our pie shell. And then we'll just take and spread this around a little loosely, and don't pack it down tight because you want the liquid to get in there from our egg yet. So now we have that in there. Set this aside, and then in my bowl here, turn off the heat, we're going to have 4 large eggs. Put that into our bowl here. Okay, then we'll just take our immersion wand, mix this together. That's just 4 eggs, 1 cup of milk, which is a ½ cup of evaporated milk and a ½ cup of whole milk. Mix that in, along with a little salt and pepper. And of course, you know, I'm always using the kosher salt, just a little bit, you know, as much as you want, little as you want. And then, important thing too about quiches is to always have nutmeg. So you want to put a dash of nutmeg in there, about 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon. And then about 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Just a titch. And we'll mix this up. And then this gets poured over our vegetable mixture. That's why I said you don't want it packed down, because you want this egg to get in there. And the little shell helps to hold it in. You didn't have all of it, so as far as you can fill up. And I'm going to take a baking sheet, put a little parchment on the bottom, and put this pie shell top of that, just so in case it should overflow when baking, it'll be caught in the pipe into the baking sheet. You just want to be careful just so you don't have a big mess. Now we'll put this in the oven, 375, and we'll bake this for 35 to 45 minutes, or until you stick a butter knife into the center, pull out, and it comes out clean, and then your quiche will be done. And then we'll be right back. All right then, our quiche is done. Ooh. Now as soon as you take this out of the oven, ooh, it's so hot in the bottom. Let this cool for about 10 minutes before you decide to cut into it. And then I'm going to cut this into 6 pieces and eat one right away. And then I can take and freeze the rest individually or in like 2 or 3 in a packet. Ziploc bag and throw it in the freezer. So let me get a close-up of this. So this is our very lovely asparagus and cheddar cheese quiche. Oh, don't that look beautiful? Can't wait to bite into that. Okay, now we can go on to our second quiche. And this is going to be a savory one. We're going to do sausage and peppers. So first I'm going to take my pie pan. I'm going to spray it. Shake it around. And we're going to take and par bake this. So if you have a frozen one, that'll work just even better. I just happen to have this kind to roll out. But if you want to use just a frozen one, yeah, it would work just perfect too. And I'm just going to put a slight flour on our pan here. And just gently roll this out. We just want to smooth it out, stretch it out just a little bit so that it forms and slides into the pan much nicer. And we can just roll that up and get a pie pan. Here we go. And remember now to lift up when placing this pie shell into the pan so we don't overstretch it inside the pan. Otherwise it'll break apart on you. And then we can just go around again and just fold this crust underneath, roll it under all around. Then we go through with the finger and pinch. See, there we are. Nice and pretty, nice pleats. Okay, now I'll get my beans. And I could just reuse the same ones over and over again. Pat that down in. Go. And we'll just bake this at 350 for about 10 minutes. Okay. Now I'll put my pan back on. Get my timer going here so I don't forget. It's so easy to forget timing. Okay, now I got some hot sausage here. You can use mild if you want. You can use Jimmy Dean if you want. The flavor is much nicer. This is homemade from Almson's down the road here in Crystal. They always have really good meats there too. So I'm doing about a pound of sausage. And then I'm going to do, about a quarter cup of minced onions. And we don't need a whole lot. If we want the savory, we want to get a blend of both. You know, we don't want it like overpoweringly oniony. Give this a stir. And then I'm going to put in, I got the little mini peppers. I got a red, yellow, and an orange one. And these I'm going to take and cut in half lengthways first. And then I can just take and remove the stems and the membrane and get the seeds out. Keep stirring, I don't want to burn it. I'll take that off the heat for just now until we can get caught up with the peppers. Otherwise we're going to overcook. If you want to get the peppers done first, that's a good idea, because then you'll be able to just to toss them in when your sausage is done cooking. Now you don't want to put them in after the sausage is completely cooked, because we're going to soften up the peppers. We want to fry those up too. So it is best to have these all ready ahead of time. I just didn't do it. Then I'll just take and just rough chop these. You don't have to have them really minced tiny, Or you can have them in small pieces, because you do want it to get these distributed throughout the whole pie. And if you have smaller pieces, you can get some in almost every bite. Okay, put those in. Heat back on. Now we'll just fry these up until they're nice and tender. And that sausage is just about done. Okay, again, we're going to do the filling, which is a half a cup of evaporated milk, and then a half cup of regular milk, okay, that's all done. Sausage. Get that off the heat. Okay, so meat's almost done. That meat's done. That's got to drain it yet. And then again, we'll do 4 eggs into our bowl here. And along with salt and pepper to taste, and approximately about a half teaspoon, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. You know, more or less, depending on your preference. And I always got to put in nutmeg. That always goes into quiches. And you want like about an 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon. And let's see, eggs and milk. And then we'll just buzz this up. Oh, there goes the pie shell. Hang on, hang on. And save the beans. For the next time. Okay, that's lovely. Let's see, I'll just leave this over here for now. And I'll buzz up the egg mixture here. That's always quick and simple. And let's see, let's get my sausage here. And a container here. Let's get drain off my fat. I don't think there's much in here. No, there isn't. Hardly any fat in there, and that's because it was used to fry up the peppers and onions, so that absorbed. Okay, so we have that, and we can just pour this then in to our pie shell. And we'll just spread that around inside the shell, evenly distribute it. And then we can pour our egg mixture right over the top of this. Just want to get another little swift mix here because all the seasonings are on the bottom. And I'll just pour this right on top. And then, let's see, get my baking sheet. And I'm going to put a piece of parchment on that. And that's just to catch any drippings if it should happen to spill or boil over. Usually it doesn't, but it's better safe than sorry because you know what it's like to clean out an oven. It's not fun. Whoa, there we go. And I've got a silicone mat in the bottom of my oven too, so I just whip that out and just spray it down. It's just so slick to clean the oven out. Much, much nicer than having to scrub away. Okay, so this is in the 350 oven. And this is going to bake for approximately 35 to 45 minutes or until a butter knife inserted in the middle comes out clean, and then your quiche will be done. When that's done, we'll take it out and let it cool 10 minutes before you cut into it, so it's time to set and hold together, otherwise it just kind of dissipates. So then we'll be right back. And this is our lovely sausage and pepper quiche. Now, just before I baked it, I forgot to put in the cheese. What's mixed in with, I put in, was 1 cup of shredded cheddar and 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Mix that in with your egg mixture and then pour that over it. So I forgot to put that in, so I just put the cheese in on top and then mixed it in the pie shell and turned out just fine. So I hope you enjoy this. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episodes on making quiches. We did the savory quiche here with the sausage and peppers, and make sure to add the cheese. And then we made the vegetarian quiche with asparagus and onion. So from the Northwoods Cooking Show, I like to say, eat healthy, be safe, and spread the sunshine. Bye-bye.